Okay, there we go. So good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the July Virtual Excursions Australia meeting. Yeah, lead up to Science Week is very, very busy. So there's a lot of stuff going on in August. So I think there's Education Week, National Science Week, Book Week, and I've only just recently found out it's also Poetry Month. So there's quite a lot of different things that are going on for most of the organisations. If it's not Science Week, then they're libraries and they're involved in Book Week or Education Week. So there's a really big diversity that's going on. Oh, sorry. Speaking of libraries, I've just got Pauline from the State Library. Hello, Pauline.
Hello, stranger.
We were just talking about libraries and Book Week coming up. So, and then I saw you. It's like, oh, ears must have been burning. So,
Must have been.
Definitely a lot going on in August. I'm going to be sending out the next Virtual Excursions newsletter next week. So it'll be a bit of a Science Week and sort of Book Week push, and then sort of halfway through, just before Book Week, I'm going to do another newsletter that's just about Book Week. So yeah, please, Pauline, or any of the organisations that are running programs, share them with me and I will add them to the newsletter. We've just essentially launched SciFest a little bit early this week. So we just had a program that finished about half an hour ago called Poetry Zoo that was actually how I know it's Poetry Month, was a link to National Science Week and sort of Book Week and Poetry Month, and talking to students about how they can submit these poems that can potentially get published in the Science Rhymes blog post. So that was really a good way to start, and it meant that we started a little bit early, so those posts, those poems can be ready for National Science Week. And then we're doing our traditional SciFest program starting on Monday, the 10th of August. We're doing trivia at 1, sort of a general sort of sciencey show at 2. And also a 4 o'clock after school session. So after moving things around for quite a few years, we've sort of settled on the trivia being at 1 o'clock. Found like lots of students or homeschool groups or members of the community that lunchtime trivia 1 o'clock has been quite popular. I think last year we had 400 students in the Kahoot. It was slightly chaotic, but lots and lots of fun. So we're doing that program again. And so far, we've got, I think, 300 registrations. So I don't know the numbers at the moment. I think it's over a couple of thousand already. So that's really good news. And we've done it slightly differently this year. Usually we would just go through the Dart Learning booking system because it's nice and easy. And then I would send the Zoom link directly to the registration emails for them to come in. And it was just a really nice way that we could pull the bookings report out as one big thing, and it was nice and easy on my end. But because we want to focus on not just schools, it's quite daunting for non-New South Wales participants and even homeschools and also members of the public to go through to register. So lots of people will get to that point and go, oh, well, I'm not a teacher, so I can't join. So we did it as a direct Zoom registration. So there was just a little bit of an easier work through. We're still asking questions in terms of, their numbers, their state, age group and those kinds of things, but not quite as much data as we would get. So it means that directly from the Science Week website, from the Virtual Excursions Australia website, it'll take them directly to the Zoom registrations, but it is also up on Dart as well. So when they book, they go through to the Zoom registration directly. So a little bit different, and it'll be interesting to see whether our numbers are up or down from that. We're assuming it will be a little bit easier for non-teachers and less daunting for them to go, oh, that's not for me. And we are hoping that we are going to get some regional libraries involved as well. So we're actually been sending some things out about if you want to run a program at your library, you know, you can do the trivia with your community through SciFest, or you can actually have an after school club and then join in and watch one of the 4 o'clock sessions. So there's a couple of different opportunities there that we're hoping will just increase our range a little bit.
So, Karen, do you want me to promote that to public libraries?
Yes, that would be brilliant. I guess
So,
you'd have a better connection, wouldn't you?
yeah, we're very connected with the public library network. So if you send me the info, I could get it into their e-newsletter.
Perfect. Yep, I will do that. Thank you. Yeah, so essentially, as part of our grant, it's not traditionally a schools program, so we want to be able to make it more accessible for non-schools as well. So that's why we're trying things just a little bit differently this year. So that's our kind of news of what's coming up immediately. And of course, we've got Earth Science Week that we're already in discussions about, that Geoscience Australia is funding again in October. So that'll be the 2 big things, and then I'll have to have a little rest in between. Excellent. So does anyone else want to share what they've got coming up, or any information about what you've been working on? I'm going to make you all anyway.
Yeah, I can do that.
Thanks, Molly.
So we've just got one Science Week VE with an author whose name escapes me at the moment, but he's written a series of really great science books. I'll find that online. And then in Book Week we have 2 virtual excursions every day. So authors, illustrators, and also my team delivering those. So that's our biggest week of the year. And you'll be interested to know, we've just this week been doing our NAIDOC week virtual excursions. So as you know, NAIDOC week's in the holidays. So we traditionally do something in the first week of term 3 because private schools are on holiday already on holidays in the last week of term 2. So we focused this year on First Nations authors and illustrators. So on Tuesday we had Charmaine Ledden-Lewis, who's an amazing illustrator who lives up in the mountains. And then yesterday we had Adam Goods and his co-writer and illustrator, and they were huge. So the first one with Charmaine had 4,780 kids from about 100 schools. And then yesterday it was less, actually. I thought Adam Goods would be the standout, but we had 4,228 yesterday for Adam Goods. And tomorrow to finish, we have Curly Saunders, and that's for a secondary audience. So we don't get nearly as much interest from secondary schools, but we have been able to offer a recording of that available for a week. So we had to pay, obviously, a lot more for that. So we pay our presenters ASA rates, but to have a recording available even for a short time, that makes the cost so much higher. But we just decided it was worth it for someone of Curly's stature, and it's the only way we're going to get secondary schools. So that's what's happening for us.
That sounds absolutely amazing. And yes, I agree. The secondary audience, just with their timetabling, is far more of a challenge. So I think, yeah, it's a great opportunity to have that recording available for that set time.
Yeah. We generally make them attend one live and then give them the recording, so because obviously, like, an English teacher has multiple classes, so they watch one live and then they can show the rest of their classes over the course of 2 weeks usually. Yeah. And the other big thing that happened for us last term was we had a theatre show here at the library, and the DART team came out and filmed the show. So we were able to offer it as a virtual excursion as well. And that there were over 1,000 kids that attended that. So that we had almost as many online as we had on site. So that was, it was fantastic to have Bonnie and Jacob come and do that for us. And it did have a really good return. So we're going to broadcast that show again as part of Book Week.
Yeah, oh, that sounds great. I still remember what Linda used to always say, write once, publish many times. And I've
Yeah.
always reminds me with all of the recordings doing exactly the same thing. So it was
Yeah.
one that we used to work with at the museum. And it's just a great sort of ethos in terms of, you don't need to reinvent the wheel every time. You've got these great recordings. You can use them for promotion. You can use them, as another marketing tool, as an on-demand session. So it gives you, lots of flexibility and opportunities to use those recordings.
Yeah. So that's the library wrap up.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for sharing that, Pauline. Tamara, I know that there's news and changes happening at Geoscience Australia. Did you want to share what's happening with Joe?
Yeah, sure. Joe is going to be heading off very soon for a year, taking up a role in the Maldives. So I'll be kind of your contact for
How
the next little
awful.
while. I know, yeah. But yeah, so I'll be the main contact for the next little while, especially for Earth Science Week. So we're really excited about that, and we're starting to get all the initial steps for that sorted out this week. So you'll probably get some correspondence from me hopefully early next week, Karen, towards that. And basically for National Science Week, a lot of time we do more of a physical visit special event. So we're more looking forward to the next big virtual event will be our whole day that we're sponsoring and working alongside Karen for our Earth Science Week, as we've done the last few years, which has been a big hit. We haven't had as much in the virtual space for the last little while. We haven't been actively doing any particular events, but we also haven't had as many requests from a lot of our schools to run individual virtual stuff. So we're putting more of our energy towards those bigger ticket items to make sure we're delivering to a wider audience when we are running these things. And the only other virtual stuff we've been doing is more around teacher professional learning, which has been going really well. So we're rerunning that in late August, early September for our sessions around using some of the data portals our scientists have created. So yeah, and that's been a lot of fun working along beside the team to make those happen and sort of build upon them each time we rerun them. So there's not much happening here, but hopefully a lot of things very exciting coming up shortly in the next few months.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I know that we've got both Grant and Mary are doing programs for SciFest. So Grant, do you want to talk about your program for SciFest and any other digital programs you've been doing?
Yep, sure. So yeah, we've got our species survival theme lesson coming up, and I've practiced. I'm hoping what we can do. We're going to take I'm going to do it like from the Zoom from the mobile, and we can walk over into the lab and do it live. And so that should be. I'm hoping, just to really prompt some of those extra questions, and we start to look at okay, so what can the dinosaurs teach us about the survival of species, and then and try and get up some strategies. So what sort of things does the dinosaurs use? Well, they can either grow large, or they can be quick and small, nimble, camouflage, all those sorts of things. And we'll have a limited number, but we'll have some of the fossils in the background. So we'll be able to get one of our sauropod fossils and some marine fossils. And we're going to try, well, my idea is we're going to try and go back to the earliest life. So we've got some stromatolites. And so we can talk about, well, why have these stromatolites still been able to survive for 3.5 billion years? They must have some clues that can give us about species survival. And so we'll talk a little bit about that. And that's the basis for that lesson there, which I think I'm really looking forward to, and I think it should be awesome. The other thing in terms of our other lessons, my next job right now is actually I need to find a way to get familiar with using the DART system, because I've never been on there myself. I've got to learn how to upload lessons, make them available, that kind of thing, to yeah, to get all those lessons out there. That's my next task. So in terms of data, I guess a general question is what's the best way to go about that? Can I just create a personal account and log in and go, okay, if this was like a dummy account, and play with it that way in a sandpit kind of thing?
The best way is probably to reach out to Bonnie. She wasn't able to join the meeting today, but I can share her email address with you, and she'll set you up as a profile. Now, I've got a feeling Australian Age of Dinosaurs might already be there, so it might just be giving you access to that account.
Yep.
And then, yeah, you go in and you list an event. The best way is, kind of list one, and then you can often just duplicate it and then change the date or time. Or if it's an on-demand session, you can leave it there and then make live ones. So the three options are a live scheduled event, by request. So that's an event that doesn't have a particular time, but schools
Yep.
can contact you and say, I would like Monday at 10 o'clock, please. And then if you're available, you say, yep, no problems, and you go from there. And then the other one is on demand. So most of the time that varies. A lot of the on-demand content tends to be free. The by request is usually charged. And the live ones can vary. So, in the case of Virtual Excursions Australia, we've got grant funding to deliver our programs. So we do them for free. But most organisations will, need to put a price. And we do find, and this is probably the same with Pauline, sometimes if things are free, you get a lot of no-shows. So it tends to be why we do the recordings as well. So if they weren't able to attend, they get to follow up with that recording. But then we make that an on-demand asset later. So very happy to chat further with that about with you, Grant, and also I'll pass on Bonnie's details. So she will do everything she can to get you guys up and running.
Cool, thanks.
No problems. So Mary, did you want to share your program with us?
Yeah, so it's a lot of it in my head, but I'm excited to be offering something in SciFest to sort of end off the week, particularly as it will be for, families, adults, and everyone in between. So it's a sensory sanctuary. So I'm just wanting it to be like a mindful kind of insight into nature and all its glory, and basically hopefully a bit of storytelling with it as well, but just really getting people to tune into their senses and relax and understand nature at a deeper level. That's my big aim. So yeah, I'm hoping to get some people to it and send it out to a few people I know out there, some aged care people and things like that, to try and build a bigger profile with it.
I think it's a great way to finish SciFest, and especially because the school theme this year is species survival more than just sustainability. So I think having that nature connection is a really lovely way to wrap up the week and let people sort of have a bit of reflection and that connection. So I think I'm looking forward to it. I'm definitely going to need it by the end of SciFest. So I will be going along. Hopefully I don't relax too much and don't forget to turn the session off. So
okay.
we should be right. Does anyone have anything else that they want to share about things that they might have upcoming for term 3?
I was interested, Grant, to hear you speak about going mobile, because that is my next big frontier. I want to be able to do mobile Zoom through the library. And just this morning, sitting behind me on the shelf, I had delivered some tech to make that possible for me to do that. So if anyone has any tips and tricks for mobile Zoom, I'd be really happy to hear those before I have a little play in that space.
Awesome. So on that, Pauline, I think on one of the videos on Virtual Excursions YouTube is one that we did, an outdoor learning one with Sydney Olympic Park. So that will probably be quite useful for you to watch. I can send you the link as well.
Oh, great. That'd be good.
Because one of the things that they were just using an iPad.
Yeah, well, I've got a brand new latest version iPhone. I've got a really nifty little gimbal.
Yep.
And I've got a really good microphone.
Perfect. Yeah. I think you're going to be absolutely set, because one of the key things is that stability, because holding a phone or an iPad like that for a long period of time, it's really uncomfortable. So having something that you can hold that's got that sort of, the gimbal, and having something that's good for your audio, I think that sounds perfect. So you've got everything you need. You just give it a go. So yeah, please let us know if you want to do any testing. I can do a quick call with you, and we can test out the audio and the sound and those kinds of things. So one of the other things is linking to your Wi-Fi when you're moving around. Now, 5-10 years ago when we were trying to do this, it was really iffy. Wi-Fi these days is far superior than it used to be. So the connections, but it is a really good thing to test where your dead spaces are, because there's always a corner that somehow doesn't have very good internet. So that'd be the same for you, Grant, whether there's any spaces walking from one place to another where there are those bad connections. And I have to say, most of the participants are really, really generous in terms of, something's not working. We used to always find, and I'm sure there's no technical reason for it, but if it was really windy, especially for the outside ones, we found that the Wi-Fi used to be really, really a bit iffy. So, and I don't think that's actually technically linked at all. But we used to just say, because we're outside, there could be some issues. So they were really always happy, because the content is something, really unique. So yeah. And Grant, do you have any other tips for Pauline?
Yeah, I think really, like the test I did, we're kind of lucky because it is in a shed, so it's mostly indoors. But yeah, definitely you're finding a spot where you can then sit the camera down in front of you on a stand that's at a comfortable sort of eye height, so you're looking straight at that camera, and that way you're not holding it there for 10, 15, 20 minutes. And then every now and then you pick it up and you turn around, or you walk just and try and frame everything behind you so that you only have to turn on the spot, so to speak, if you want to have a different background, rather than literally walking 5 meters here, 5 meters there. That's when you start to run into those Wi-Fi problems.
I think we won't be outdoors initially, and the Wi-Fi in the library's pretty good because there's a lot of people here using it. They were keen for me to begin in exhibition spaces rather than I'm really keen to do tours of the stacks, but I literally was delivered the kit this morning, so I've gone into the paintings gallery and done a little test session, but that's as far as I've gone. But yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, it sounds like it'll be lots of fun.
Can I ask if anyone uses a document camera? Because it was something I'm sort of considering to do close up with the natural materials I want to use.
Yeah, we do, Mary. So we do a lot of art making workshops online, and we use a document camera for that.
Yeah. Is it a good brand?
I can send you what it is.
That'd be nice.
We've actually got a few of them, but there is one that Andrea prefers over others. So I'll find out what that is.
Yeah, I'll just message my in the chat my email if you like.
That'd be great.
Yeah, thanks. That'd be great.
And Mary, I think I've got a document camera floating around that I don't use. So yeah, let me know. It's a little bit older, but as long as it plugs in, it should.
I just would really like to kind of use a box and tell a story and use leaves and things, and I like the idea of doing that close up. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, Ben also uses a phone on a bendy thing. But
I did do that, remember, last time, and you get to see the iPhone kind of picture. It, as the second screen. I wasn't happy with that.
Yeah, I think there's a way around that, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But that could be, we could ask Ben on that one. But yes, document cameras are good.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Are you hoping to zoom in on it, or you just want to be able to show it?
Yeah, I'd like to sort of have a close up, sort of bigger than A4 size with some materials, and maybe that I'm making trees out of leaves and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's going to quite suit for this. Probably the document camera gives you a wider area,
Yeah.
but what we use in our center, we haven't used it virtually, but it connects up to a computer, is a digital microscope, and they are able to be angled at different things and can give
Yeah.
you a much wider range if you're wanting to show that off. And you
Yeah.
get them pretty cheap off Amazon
Yeah.
for a wide range of things. So
Yeah. Cool.
depending on the need.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone.
Excellent. Well, that's essentially what this is all about, sharing these ideas and things that have worked and things that hadn't. And, you know, we don't want to reinvent the wheel. If someone's done it successfully or has had trouble, then, yeah, it's a really great opportunity to share. So, well, I think that is probably it. I don't know. Nothing's fallen down around the house just yet. It's been very, very chaotic. So thank you all for joining us today and for sharing all that information. I will send out a recording of this tomorrow as well. And yes, send me through all of your book week and science week and anything that you've got coming up, and we'll share it in the next newsletter and beyond.
Great.
Beautiful.
Thanks,
Thank
Karen.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Oh, before
Bye,
I
everyone.
go, I should ask, and this might be one for you tomorrow, or even El Grant as well, and pretty much everyone. We are still trying to lock in our panelists for the Careers Day for SciFest, which is the Wednesday, the 12th at 2 p.m. So it can be sort of any age, but it's just a little bit of what people have done, how they've got there, what their job is, and an opportunity for students to ask questions. So we like to have a really big variety of people. So if you've got anyone in mind or yourselves, please let me know and just send an email to Virtual Excursions Australia, because I like to update the DART website with that information. At the moment, it's just kind of like a general, you know, Science Week panel. This one usually goes for sort of an hour as opposed to our 45-minute session. So yourself or any of your science people, it really is only about 10 minutes or so of talking. We like to have a sort of 4 or 5, and then question time. So it's not a huge, you know, they don't have to talk for the whole time. And it will be facilitated by myself anyway. So I'll be there to help support everyone. So yeah, have a little think. We yeah, it's kind of always the last one on my list. It's like, get everything else out there, and we've got bookings. So we've got quite a few bookings have already come through. So I just now need the people to
make it
come on
happen
as well. Yeah. I think we've got someone from Sydney Zoo and maybe someone from Antstow already. So yeah, a couple more would be brilliant.
Okay.
Thank you. On that note,
No problem.
I will say goodbye. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.